Radiating from the heart of America and stretching from coast to coast and border to border, welcome to OnRadio, the wireless industry's weekly download coming straight from the builders and newsmakers of everything wireless. Your host is Jim Tracy, and this is OnRadio.
Hello, wireless folks, and welcome back to another edition of OnRadio. This one is going to be a little more epically cool than you're used to because of the company that I get to keep. With me today are two guys who have been around the tower game quite some time, and they've risen up the ranks, and they have done a project that is so epically cool. And they do cool stuff all the time, but this one is so epically cool that they made a movie about it called Flying Steel. And this movie has already actually gone into some contests. What do they call them? Film festivals or something like that. And
I think that's what it said.
Yeah, these are the two guys who made tower work cool. So, gents, welcome from downtown Ritzville, Washington, or at least out on the runway. Introduce yourselves, fellas. Go, Whit.
So I'm Andrew. I'm one of our tower foremen that we got here in the Ritzville branch of Legacy, and got the opportunity to do some pretty awesome stuff. So.
Yeah, so tell us, Whit, and so I should let you know, his name is Andrew, but everybody knows him as Whit. That's his last name. So, Whit, am I right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. FSAs and everybody.
Yeah.
It comes across in an email as Whit. I don't have a first name.
You no longer have a first name. You are hereby dubbed Whit. So, Whit, Tell us about how long have you been doing the tower gig, man?
I started here at the Ritzville branch as a shop guy in high school in January 2015.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 17 when I started there, and that was 2015. So however long that's been now.
Yeah, 7 years, man.
Two kids and a wife later, here I am.
So we were part of a program where you actually kind of did a little internship in the shop to figure out what you want to do for a living, right?
Yep. My ag teacher was real good friends with Ryan, and he's like, you need something better to do in your off time, because my whole second half of the day was spent out in the ag shop.
Yeah.
He goes, you need to quit bothering me. You need to go bother somebody else. And I said, okay. All right, I'll do that.
So what you're saying was a teacher was trying to get rid of you, man.
Yeah, in a nice way, yeah.
All right. So his other compadre who's looking for less trouble but usually finding more is Ben. Tell us who you are, Ben.
I'm Ben. Yes, I work here in the Ritzville branch as a field manager, also a foreman. From time to time, I fill in. Where I'm at.
Okay, so how long have you been doing the tower gig?
I started in September of 2011.
2011.
Doing this for almost 12 years now.
Wow, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he says his name is Ben Getchke, but I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one, but I call him Benji because it's Ben Getchke, the letter G. So, and it just has always stuck for me. Does it stick for other people?
It comes and goes, depending on who I'm around.
He's looking at me like, but it's not my favorite, Jim. Why don't you just be quiet?
Well, you know the old movie about the dog, right, Benji?
Yeah. Well, yours is a G, not a J-I. Yeah. So, guys, starting with Ben, tell me about your family, man.
So my family, it's me and my girlfriend and our two kids, and we got a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Wow.
They pretty much run our lives.
And what about you, Whit?
I've got two kids as well, and one's 6 and the other one's 2.
Wow.
And I tell you what, my younger child, he is something else right now, being 2. And then the oldest, she loves her horses.
Yeah, you got to keep your foot speed up to keep up with those 2-year-olds, don't you? Or 4 and 5 years olds too. So we've got you guys been around a while. You've been doing towers a while. You're got great families that support you in this. But what do you do when you're not climbing towers, Whit?
I mainly spend my time either scouting for hunting trips or on the hunting trips or thinking about hunting trips or whatever.
Yeah.
So I pretty well get consumed and stuff like that.
Cool. How about you, Ben?
Lately, I mean, we've been taking the kids camping almost every weekend. My boy, he's 5 and he's gotten big into fishing.
All right.
It's been fun teaching him and watching him grow just fishing.
He's probably already out fishing you, isn't he?
Sadly, yes.
All right.
He catches more than I do every time we go.
That's awesome, man. I love that when that happens. That's part of the part I love about being a grandpa is you look over and you got this little runt and he caught a 4-pound bass and you're like, rock on, it's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool watching him do it too because he gets those fish and they look just massive in his little tiny hands.
Yeah, sweet deal. All right. So we're going to talk kind of about a specific project, just because the project is so, I mean, every once in a while, I mean, all the stuff we do is pretty cool. I mean, you got to admit, everybody looks at you and they're like, there's 2 responses. The first one is, you climb those towers? Oh, I could never do that. And that's a pretty common response. You know, it's one of the top fears in America is fear of heights. And the other one is like, oh, cool. Could I go up with you? And those are the people that we say, hey, yeah, you want
a job?
We want to get paid for it. And they're like, yeah, man. So the project, I want to break it down into pieces. So we do communications in some really super remote places, and this is one of those. So it's a mining operation up in the mountains of where's it? Like, what general area is it
at? When I was looking on X, because I mean I'm always scouting, right?
Yeah.
I was looking on X, and we were about 2 miles west of the Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness.
The River of No Return Wilderness area, and you know what? When you get there, it kind of feels like there's no return. It's sometimes.
Yeah, it's a long ways out there.
So this is in the Panhandle of Idaho. Am I accurate in saying that, or Southern Panhandle?
I think it'd be more. Yeah, like right. If you were to put a dot right in the center of what you could spin Idaho on, I bet you it'd be real close to that. Maybe a touch more.
So when you drive to the nearest town to that site, how long does it take you to get there? You get in your truck, you get the guys loaded up, and you're going to drive to the nearest town to that site. How long does that take you?
Well, what kind of town? Because the town that we stayed in, it wasn't much of a town.
Okay, so how long did it take you to get there? How long did it take you to get there?
What was that?
It was 3 hours to the first one.
3 hours to the first one.
From the most, the best version of a town, I guess you could say. And it was 3 hours to within an hour of the site.
Okay, so from your shop, it took you 3 hours just to get to the town that kind of you staged.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
Okay. So
you guys got to start. And then 3.
You guys got to start filling in these blanks for our people. So you get in the truck at the shop, and you drive to the town where you're going to stay, and that is 6 hours.
11.
11 hours.
Did it take us 11 hours?
It was like 11 or 11 and a half hours from our shop to the town where our cabin was.
Okay, so when you're talking about 11 hours. What break it down? How far in the freeway? Like 6?
On the freeway we were probably about 7. And
okay,
then
7 hours.
Remote roads.
Then you go down to 2-lane highways, and you're like highways for another couple hours, and then what?
Yeah, I think it was, if we were judging it by state routes, I think it was like 6 or 6.5 hours, a 60-mile-an-hour road. And then once we left that town where we got diesel, it was 3 hours at 15 to 20 mile an hour.
And that's gravel, winding, switchbacks.
Yeah.
Mostly uphill. Because
Yep.
you're going from the river, and the mountains that you're in are, 11, 12, 13,000 feet. So that's quite a climb. And now you're on gravel. What do you see when you're on that gravel road?
A lot. It was pretty epic.
I mean, there's deer everywhere, right?
We actually didn't see any, did we? I don't think we saw any animals on our trip up there.
Really?
We were wanting to, yeah, but we kept stopping and looking, and we couldn't find nothing really to look at besides camping or camp spots and people camping and whatnot.
All right, so then you found a cabin up there to stay at. Now you're like 10 hours into the trip, and what kind of cabin is it?
Yep. It was a cabin that was set aside by the mine for us.
Okay, so
the mine had it all set up for us
with a hot tub and microwave.
No.
And...
no.
I was kind of being facetious there. Tell me about the cabin.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It had beds thrown basically everywhere. Wherever you could find a room with a door, there was one or two beds thrown in it, and then a little living room area where you could congregate. A small kitchen. Coffee pot wasn't exactly up to code.
Yeah, that's in the video. We ended up having to make yellow pine French press is what we called it.
All right. Well, that's cool. So this is pretty rustic. I mean, did you guys have a campfire outside, or was it fire season?
Fire season.
Fire season. So you can't even have a campfire. But is there an interior wood stove there?
No.
So
propane.
They had electric heat or propane?
Yeah.
All right. So
it did. I think. Yeah. I think it was.
I think so this is a stinking rustic cabin out in the middle of nowhere. You're 11 hours from home, or 10 hours from home. You're 3 hours from a hotel, and you're an hour away from diesel. Is that accurate?
Yep.
Did I get that lie?
Pretty close.
So there's not even any diesel fuel for you. Do you got slip tanks in, or you just fill up your tank and away?
If we were up on where we were working, if we needed diesel, I'm sure they would have been able to help us out because they had lots of equipment and everything up there.
Yeah,
but we ended up not needing diesel.
All right, good. So then from there, now you leave home, you're gone for a while. This is a kind of it's not a huge project, but it's a pretty high profile project, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, the first tower that was put up there, I'm if I'm not mistaken, we built that, right?
Yep.
Were you guys on that crew?
No, those are a couple of guys that a couple of them don't work here anymore, and then William, he's I guess kind of Ben's main manager or whatever.
He's too highfalutin.
He was on the ground.
He's too highfalutin now to get out there and actually work.
Yeah, he's pretty special anymore.
Thinks a lot of himself and his computer skills. William, take that one, man.
Yeah.
So the job now you're going to go. So you go to this little teeny. I'm going to call it it's actually a business, and you get there and it's down in a valley, right? So when you drive up there, what does it look like? You're leaving your cabin. Now you're going the next hour. So the 11th hour, you get there, and in the daytime, I'm presuming, what does it look like?
Like you said, it looks just like you're in the bottom of the valley. Other than there's big trucks and big rigs everywhere.
Yeah.
Around waiting to start moving dirt and doing their job.
Yeah. And so when we say that, people don't really understand. If you were up on top of the mountains, you would get 15, 14 hours of sunshine a day. How about down at the bottom? What do you...
Like 9, maybe.
You're lucky to get 9, right?
In the middle of July, yeah.
So the sun comes up, but it's still behind the mountain till 9 a.m. and then the sun doesn't go down until 10 at night, but you lose the sun at what time? Like 6?
Like 6:30, 7 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah. So the mountain is there's places down in that valley that actually have never seen the sun, aren't there?
Pretty close, yeah. Especially all the north-facing slopes. I mean,
yeah.
They were telling us that that this last winter it stayed at -38, so 38 below zero for what was it, like a week or something like that. There, none of the rigs there shut off for a week.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
No, that's really cold.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. So we're about out of time. So I'm gonna chat with the folks online here and tell them, hey, come back again next week when we're gonna get joined by Whit and Benji, and they're gonna tell us about the cool part of this project is coming up. But until then, hey, you get out there and choose safety today. This is Jim.
Thanks for tuning in today, and join us every week. Tell your people to listen in and subscribe to OnRadio, the voice of everything wireless.